the most important skill that you need to have in order to be a master property developer. And that skill is cash flow management. And you must be thinking, oh, what are you talking about? You know, there are financial feasibilities that I need to learn. I need to learn how to do due diligence and all those things. But why cash flow management? Let me start by saying that there are two ways cash flow management is important. Number one is when you get into a project and you don't know what it's going to cost you, it's going to be a problem. Just what it's going to cost you, that's part of feasibility. Cash flow management component, so to speak, of this is your ability to determine what your out-of-pocket expenses are going to be through the life of your property development project. If you can't determine your out-of-pocket expenses, the money that you will have to come up with, or the developer's equity contribution, so to speak, in a project, you're going to be in a whole lot of hot water. The reason for that is that you won't know at what stage, what kind of cash flow you would have to inject into the project to keep the project alive. It could come at a stage where you didn't account for something, for example. It could come at a stage where you got a fixed price contract with the builder, and then there's a cost blowout that wasn't covered. I've gone through a similar cost blowout myself. I not lost, but I had to come up with $41,000 because of a stormwater issue. There are things that are unforeseens, or known as latent expenses, and you can't do anything about it. The builder can't do anything about it. You can't really point a finger at somebody and say it was because of him and that I didn't know, because that's an unforeseen problem. And for that, you allow for contingencies and so on. But your skill in determining the amount of money that you would need upfront or in your pocket or in your bank through the life of the project is very important. I see so many people who go and get plans and permit only to find out that they need to inject more capital for construction in order to keep going. My first development, I had no idea. Towards the end, we had to come up with another $250,000 each, and that was a problem. But we managed, kept going. The second thing that you need to understand about cash flow management is your ability to determine the kind of expenses that you will incur during your timeline, during your project timeline, so to speak. I'll give you an example. So say, for example, you settle on the land today, but you realize that you will have to pay the architect $15,000 in third month after you settle, for example. Or you would need a building surveyor after you got the permit, which would be somewhere down the track, say about 7 months after you've settled. So that comes in period 7. So that's when you would need. So anytime I do a feasibility on a project, I do this kind of cash flow management predictions for myself, that okay, council contribution will be required in month 13, for example. The DA stage or the planning stage, architect fees would be required in month 3, and the BA stage or the building approval stage or the working drawing stage, I'll have to pay the architect in month 9, for example. So those are the projections. So yes, you can get quotes and everything, but you got to put those projections in, because you would need to come up with that cash out of pocket at that stage, and then you add up all of that. Now don't let this hold you back, because this is a learned art. Project after project, now I've actually packaged everything into a system, which is my property development course, and I like to call it my property development system. Don't get into a project unless you've actually forecasted all the expenses, at what periods are they going to occur down the track, and the total amount of money that you will need from your pocket in order to go through. And that is very important to determine. So make sure you guys do your homework.